Yeah, it sounds like your internet's having some issues, huh? Well, how's the weather up there? Because it's awfully hot down here in Phoenix.
It's not overly hot up here. We've been having lots of rain and lots of hail and that kind of stuff here last week. Calgary got hit pretty hard with baseball-sized hail last week. Did lots of damage.
When's baseball-sized hail? Wow.
Yeah.
That is something.
Yep.
I can hardly imagine.
That's hard on houses and vehicles. And
yeah. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, about 20 minutes of it, I guess, they said. And then it puddled about 4 or 5 feet of water into like the low spots. So cars were floating down the highways. And yeah, you guys get lots of rain too there when it does rain, and you get flooding as well too, right?
If we get hail, everybody runs inside and calls their minister.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. We panic. If we get hail, we panic. Yeah. Well, I'm really...
Our humidity, right? So you guys are dry compared to us, so...
Well, that part, we have it good, for sure.
Yeah,
we have it good down here in the desert. Well, I'm really...
I love your guys' weather there. When I've been there a few times, the Phoenix area, so...
Well, one time was having your surgery. When was that? How long ago now?
That was in September 27th, I think it was, last year.
You're now about 9 months out, coming up 10 more days.
In. Yep.
9 months in. Very, very good. Very good. And are you the guy who's a professional stagecoach racer?
No, I race pony chuck wagons. John Walters races thoroughbred chuck wagons, like at the Calgary Stampede and stuff. He is the big wagon, chuck wagon driver. I do the same things, just a little smaller horses.
So tell me about what's a pony wagon?
So our horses are considered ponies. They are a little bit smaller. They're about a 15-hand horse, which is about 60 inches tall. So you drive 4 horses onto a chuck wagon. Like it's got 4 wheels, and then you race around a figure 8, and you go around a half mile, 5/8 of a mile racetrack.
It's a figure 8 shaped half mile racetrack. So how much time? What's a winning time like? How long does it take you to get around a track like that?
Well, like those guys that John and those that race the Calgary Stampede, they're about 1 minute 15 seconds. So what they do is they do a figure 8, what they call the barrel pattern, and then they go onto a racetrack, 4 wagons, and then they have outriders, they call them, that race the wagons behind to try to stay with their competing wagons. So, yeah, about 1 minute and 15 seconds, 20 seconds, somewhere in there. It all depends on the track and the weather conditions. So a lot of work for a minute of fun once a day.
Yeah.
And very expensive hobby.
A lot of things in life are like that, aren't they?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Camrose, which is about an hour southeast of Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, okay. I've known a number of people from there. Seems like a really nice place to be from and to live.
Right. Yeah, us Canadians and Albertans, we have it pretty good. We do enjoy your Phoenix and Arizona lifestyle down there and the weather. So lots of us, our older people, come down what they call snowbirds and spend all their winters down there. So we try to escape our cold winters that we have.
Phoenix and Alberta are kind of like complementary places, right? When our weather's bad, yours is good, and when yours is good, ours is bad. It's
right.
Or the opposite. When yours is bad, ours is good. Yeah, it's really, what a great life to be able to participate in both. I'm jealous because I'm a Phoenician, so I'm just here all year.
Oh, were you born and raised in Phoenix area, or?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Now, how long you been pony racing?
I've been involved with it all my life. I'm 52 now. My dad was one of the guys that was starting this association. My dad was a pro cowboy, and then he started chuck wagon, and of course, following along in his footsteps as well. So I've been actually driving for 37 years.
Wow. And you've been on a horse since you were a little kid, I imagine.
Yeah. I'm not much of a horse rider. I'm more of a driver than a rider, but I have been on horseback as well.
What's the difference between, I imagine at the end of the day, the physics or the principles of racing a pony wagon are not all that different from racing a car. Is that true, or is that just way off?
It's way off. You have 4 horses, and your brakes and your accelerator and steering is all in with leather lines. So that's all you have is 4 leather lines to you to the horses, and that's how you start, stop, and turn them. A little different than a car, but a horse can do up to 35, 40 miles an hour, right? So and stopping just doesn't up and stop that easy either.
Yeah, I imagine not. And you do have some kind of a brake, but it's leather lined. That's interesting.
Yes, yeah, it's a leather line that goes to their mouth, right? What they call a bit. So the leather line's hooked to a bit that's in a horse's mouth, and that's how you control them.
Yeah, yeah. But how do you stop them? You just stop them through the bit, or there's brakes connected to the wheels?
Yeah, you just pull on the lines, and that pulls onto the bit, that tension on their mouth that stops them.
Okay. So the horse is what stops it.
Yeah, the horse stops it. Yep.
And you can get up to almost 40 miles an hour. Jesus.
That's correct. Yeah.
That does sound fun. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, it is. It's very gets the adrenaline going, obviously, but
how is it on your body?
Dangerous. I've had a bull. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is it hard on the body?
It does if you ever hit have a wreck or an accident. I've had bull riders tell me that I'm crazy doing what we do. So.
Oh my gosh, is that right?
Yeah. A friend of mine, her boyfriend was a bull rider, professional bull rider, and he had an eye knocked out in an injury. And he was telling me one day that he said, "You're crazy doing what you do, and you just don't think anything of it, right?" So, and I'm thinking like he's really crazy or not doing what he does, right? So.
I've taken care of broken necks on bull riders and bronco and bronco horse riders from rodeo my whole career. It's dangerous stuff for sure.
Right. Yeah. Everything's dangerous, right, to a point.
Yeah.
We do as much safety as we can. We all wear vests and stuff, and our younger generation now all wear hard, helmets and protective equipment as much as they can, right? So.
I guess the older guys.
Traditional. Yeah.
The older guys aren't really using their brains much, and so they don't need to protect them. Is that the strategy?
Well, it seems like that. It's hard to change.
Yeah, it's really hard to change. Well, tell me about your hip. When did you start having trouble, and what was that like for you?
What had happened is about a year before I had my surgery, just one day from driving horses, I thought I'd pulled my groin. My left leg was kind of just like I was going through growing pains, but way worse above my knee, from my hip down, and it just got worse and worse and worse. Went to my normal family physician here, and he said, first thing he said, "Well, you got a little bit of arthritis. You're just going to have to live and deal with it." Went back to him a month or so later. I said, "It's not getting any better. It's getting worse." "Well, let's get you in for an X-ray." "Yeah, no, I'm right." He said, "You still got arthritis." He said, "Same thing. You're just going to have to, as we all gracefully age," he said, "you're just going to have to live with it." And by a few months later, that was going to get me after Christmas. Like I could hardly start walking, right? And so finally got through other people and finally got into a specialist up here. And he said, "Well, yeah, you definitely need hip replacement." He did a whole bunch of x-rays on my left hip and my right hip and said for sure that I need hip replacement on my left hip. And again, just timing to get in, he said, "You'll be at least 6 months or more." And just couldn't get in. And they just kept putting me off. And so John Walters, which is a big wagon driver, he had his done, and then through friends of friends said that he'd had his done down there from Dr. Chow, and that I should maybe contact your guys' clinic, which I did, got the ball rolling, and here I am with a new hip 9 months ago.
So the original hardship for you was just getting connected to care because things were a little backed up in Alberta.
Right.
And the reason you knew you needed surgery was you couldn't live like that. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It was a life-altering condition, I would say. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. The pain and suffering that I was going through, it would take me 10 minutes to get out of my vehicle. I couldn't straighten my legs. I couldn't sleep. My pain doctor up here put me on Oxycontin and all those painkillers and everything else, and they did not help one whatsoever.
Oh, those things are just poison. I mean, there's just so many body issues with those medicines. Ooh, yeah, I'm glad it. Yeah. Well,
I'm glad I'm off with all that right now. So.
Oh yeah, you never go back on that stuff. It's just deadly, deadly. What do you remember walking into the surgery center? What was that like?
Oh, it was a great experience. Your staff was amazing. Nursing staff was awesome. Like it was, and the anesthesiologist, Dr. Chow, everybody was. It was very effortless. I just got in, got changed. They put the IV in me. Boom! I was gone for surgery. I woke up and a couple hours later, I walked out of the clinic. I hobbled in the morning, and mid-afternoon, I walked out with my walker.
What's the last thing you remember? Some people remember going into the operating room, and some people don't. Do you remember going in there?
Oh yeah, yep. Oh yeah, I remember everything up to actually the nurse Tracy that was assisting me. She has a tattoo on her hand. I remember talking to her about her small tattoo in her hand, and that's all I remember till my wife was standing beside me in recovery.
I know from the records that they gave you a spinal anesthetic. Do you have a shot in the back? Do you have any memory of that? Did it hurt?
No, it didn't hurt. I just remember they had to kind of move my left leg because I couldn't bend because my hip was being so bad. They kind of leaned me in, and that's when she was holding me, and I noticed her tattoo, and I did feel a little bit of a pinch, and then they were putting the other anesthetic in me, and that's all I remember.
And then you woke up out there in the recovery room. I'm sure you remember that.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Was it hard to stand up that first time on the new hip? What did that feel like?
No, I actually, you know what? Other than just being a little bit weak and just a little bit scared what they expect, I put most of the weight onto the walker and to my good hip. And no, it was really good. It was not any issues with, putting any of the weight bound or anything like that. I was just trying to be very cautious with what had happened.
Of course, makes sense. Now that groin pain, from the hip that radiates to the groin, was that there when you woke up?
Nope, it was all gone.
And have you ever felt it again?
Nope, not that pain, no.
Good. Some people get kind of a back pain, like, just like it can go forward into the groin, it goes back toward the back. Did you get any of that stuff?
Beforehand, I did.
And when you woke up?
The surgery, yeah. But after the surgery, actually, when I got back to, we stayed in a hotel. After the surgery that night, I had really sore back of my leg. But then by morning, it was all good. It was gone. And yeah, I was on the road to recovery. It was really good. I had to hold myself down pretty much to stop me from doing stuff for that week that we stayed down there waiting to go back for my checkup before we flew home. It was, I wanted to do everything because I felt so good to be doing stuff, right? Because I wasn't in pain anymore.
Yeah, I know the surgeons want to let that new cup settle into the bone, and they want you active, but not too active. And it is a little bit of a hard line, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I pretty much was a couch potato for the first month. After even when I got up here, I didn't do very little. And then I started doing some light physio and stuff like that. And then I've been riding the bike now and stuff. I'm about 90% better.
Oh, good.
I have very little pain in my hip anymore. Every once in a while, just depending on the weather a little bit, but I have more muscle pain in my left and my right legs, like lower down, kind of not the same place with the groin, but off to the side of my legs.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's a normal thing or whatever, but.
Very interesting. Have you been on a horse since or
Nope.
on a wagon?
Nope. I have not. You
gonna do that?
I'm hoping to. Yeah, I planned on it now with the COVID stuff. Everything is stopped up here, same as it is in the States. But everything is our season is stopped. Everything's canceled for this year. But I had planned on it because I feel great. I'm way better. But I've gained a bunch of weight since I've had the surgery and since I've been off all the meds. And they figured kind of with that Oxycontin and stuff too, it might have triggered my thyroid or something. My metabolism changed.
Yeah, it slows your whole body down, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Boy, the COVID has just changed everything. But hopefully they'll find
the world, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they find that vaccine soon. We need to get done with this nonsense.
Right. Yes, we do need to move on. It's affecting everybody, right? From economies to people's lives, right? So,
yeah, just ridiculous.
I understand the urgency. Sorry.
No, sorry. Go right ahead. You understand the urgency?
No, I was just saying about the urgency about keeping everything in check on the health. I know all of our governments are trying to make sure that we're all safe, but also try to keep the economy and people's lives going, right? But
tough balance, isn't it? Tough.
It is a tough balance. I don't envy the politicians.
I don't either. I would never want to be the governor.
Yeah, governor or your president down there, he's under scrutiny no matter what he does. So.
Well, some people like that, I guess. I guess some people like the attention. Yeah,
you're correct there.
I'm not one of them.
I'll lay back.
Yeah. Are you married?
Yes, I am. Yeah, married with kids.
How's all of this affected your family life, your life with your wife and the kids?
Well, she doesn't have an extra kid to look after anymore.
Yeah.
But with me, my wife was very supportive through all this stuff, and she's seen the pain and agony that I was going through every day and everything like that. And she was very supportive when we got the nod that we could come down and have the surgery done at your clinic. And like I said, she spent all the time with me down there and then supportive when we've been back. So it's been a positive change.
It's really hard for a spouse to watch their spouse be in pain. It's very emotional, and there's really nothing they can do, right? And it's just a horrible situation for somebody to be in.
That's right. I like I said, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Any health issues.
Exactly. I hope you never have to pay her back. It is nice to have a wingman, though, isn't it? It's nice to have somebody there with you.
That's correct. You bet.
Did she drive home from the surgery center to the hotel?
We had a shuttle. We were pretty lucky at our hotel. We had a shuttle that we were only 5 minutes from the clinic, so the shuttle driver was excellent. Yeah, no, we didn't drive it, so didn't have that temptation that we could be getting around places.
Yeah. Well, one of the hardest things I think a lot of people face going into this surgery is they just don't know what to expect. And we're doing this series so that we can get it out there on the internet and write up people's stories, what they call blogs today, so we can let other people know what it's actually like. There's nothing like hearing from somebody who went through it. I'm sure you'd agree.
I do agree. Because I wasn't sure what to expect either. Because it's the first time I've ever been actually under the knife for any surgery. I've had no broken bones or nothing. And I wasn't sure what to expect with any of it, right? So, and it was pretty much effortless. It was very quick and easy.
How long do you think your hip's going to last?
It should do me. It should last me the rest of my life. I'm hoping.
Yeah. I know the surgeons they're conservative, and so they don't want to say until they know. And the only way you can know is by letting the clock tick out. But by all indications, these new implants are engineered so beautifully that they're going to last way longer than us, which is a nice thing to think about.
Right, compared to the old technology and stuff, they had to have. Some people had 2 or 3 hips, right? So, for knees.
You know what you never want to be is somebody's learning curve. Right?
Right. You don't need that test pilot.
Yeah, you don't want to be the test. I mean, God bless them. But for a while they were doing metal balls into metal sockets. And I mean, the idea was, well, what's stronger than stainless, right? But it turned out to be a disaster in terms of breakdown particles getting in your blood. And a lot of those even had to be removed. And before that, the implants were so rigid that they caused a higher incidence of fracture, and some people even had dislocation. It was just a disaster. But the new ones, what you got, the ceramic ball in the titanium socket lined with polyethylene plastic, and the way they manufacture these things is just so extraordinary. They're stronger than aircraft parts in their engineering execution for their job. So I just think it's a great time. My mom actually had to have a total hip when she was a young woman. And so I lived through and saw all of these mistakes in my own life that they weren't mistakes when they made them. It just turned out to be wrong. Right.
Right.
And man, I feel so lucky and fortunate and grateful for all the engineering that's gone into these implants today. It ought to be good forever. Is there a senior division? Is there a senior division in the pony racers?
No.
So you race up there with the teams.
70-year-olds. There's people in their 70s are running, and then there's 14-year-olds that are doing it.
Well, I'd like to see you out there when you're 80. I know.
There you go.
Whatever breaks, it's not going to be your hip. So.
Yeah, no. Now for follow-ups and stuff, do you guys recommend that we come down again and have it checked or not?
No, as long as you're doing well, the likelihood of there being a problem is so low that it really isn't worth the trip. Even for people here in Phoenix, different. We have a handful of surgeons. Different ones follow people for a different length of time, but there's really not much from your point of view benefit to the long-term follow-up. It is helpful theoretically, and if you want the peace of mind, one thing you can do is have your primary doctor up there shoot an x-ray so you can take a look at it.
Okay.
They're not going to find anything wrong or that can help you. One of the things some of our surgeons, and Dr. Chow is one of them, do that I think is just so genius is in the operating room, they take an x-ray and then they have a computer analyze that x-ray to make sure that the parameters, the angle that the cup is on and the attitude of the whole construct, make sure it's perfect. And believe it or not, most surgeons don't do that until the recovery room. That's like a carpenter taking the measurements after he's built the chest,
Right.
You can't fix it. It just doesn't make sense to me. But the way your surgery was done and the way they're doing it at Phoenix Spine is really world class. And if there was something wrong, we'd already know. And it just frankly almost never happens. Right.
Yeah. No. Like I said, the hip feels great. Just having a little bit of muscle issues in my lower leg or lower just above my knees and stuff, but nothing that's unbearable.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. If it's okay with you, we'll go ahead and throw this up on this interview on the internet and write it up into a blog so other people can get the benefit of your experience. Can I have your permission to do that?
You sure can. You have my permission. And I've been referring you as much as I can up here too.
Well, that's the ultimate thank you for us. And it means a lot to us to have people trust us because, we care very deeply. We're here to make people's lives better. And oftentimes when people are doing well, we don't hear from them. The only way we hear from them is through their friends. So,
right.
So thank you.
Hopefully I don't need the other one done, but if I ever do, I will be definitely having you guys do it.
Well, I hope we never see you again, Marty. But if we do, we'll do a good job. And I hope you get back. Hope they get rid of that virus and you get back on those ponies very soon.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye now.